Finally made it. There were times when it didn't look like we would, but it's a real pleasure to see this fine building here today. And I know we all are enjoying it together as much as those of us who had the privilege of working and seeing it being built do today. However, the building we are dedicating here today represents the cumulative efforts of many who have worked in the past to see this day come when our area would have its own high school. Time does not permit us to give public recognition to all who have had a part in this effort. In fact, some will no doubt remain unknown to us, and others we may overlook or forget. To all of these, we ask your forbearance and understanding and express to you our heartfelt thanks. There are, however, those who selected the school site, who acquired the land, chose the architect, and participated in the initial planning of our high school. We are greatly indebted to these men. I am referring to the immediate past board members of District 125, and I would like to introduce them to you now. Will you please rise as I call your name and remain standing, and then after all of you have been introduced, I will ask our audience to show their appreciation by a round of applause. First, I would like to introduce Mr. William Park, a former past president of High School District 125. Next, Mr. Frank Hurley, a former past president of District 125. Mr. Gustafson, also a former past president of District 125. Mr. Dan Marlowe, the current board president of District 95, and he also served on our district board of 125. Mr. Dave Goldbogen, a former board member of 125. Mr. Herman Griever, a former board member. Mr. Eugene Ingalls and Mr. Gil Smith, both outstanding board members of District 125. Mr. John Walt. And it would not be right to not also acknowledge our former superintendent of 125 for many years, Mr. H.L. Wessner, known and loved to many people in our district, and I'd like for him to stand also with these men, and let's give all of them a big round of applause. This beautiful building that we are all so proud of, and that many of us know won a national award for design, is a creation of our architect, Mr. Dennis Blair. Now, the man whose responsibility it was to construct the building according to the plans as designed by our architect was our general contractor, Mr. Don Engelhard. And I would like to introduce both of them to you at this time. And I would like first Mr. Dennis Blair to stand, if he would please, and Mr. Engelhard, if he is present, would he please stand as well. Let's give these gentlemen a round of applause. Others, having conceived the idea of a high school for our area, selected the site, chosen the architect, it became the responsibility of our present board to complete the building, open the school, and to give it a name. After weeks of discussion, after asking for and receiving suggestions from the general public, after notices in our press, the board unanimously chose the name Adlai E. Stevenson. I believe the board's feelings can best be summed up by quoting from the board's resolution in naming the school. And I quote, "Whereas the Board of Education, in recognition of the inspirational value inherent in a distinctive name for the new school that will challenge the highest aspirations of the students and to honor the memory of a great American, and whereas the late Adlai E. Stevenson, a resident of our community, former governor of Illinois, twice a presidential candidate, ambassador to the United Nations, a devoted public servant, a lawyer, diplomat, world statesman, a tireless worker for world peace and the betterment of mankind, embodied all the ideals that educators seek to instill in the hearts and minds of their students. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of High School District 125 that the name of our new school shall be the Adlai E. Stevenson High School. We are very proud to have with us today to share in the dedication of our high school, named for his illustrious father, his son, Adlai E. Stevenson III, who is a practicing Chicago attorney and a member of the state legislature. It is my pleasure to introduce to you now Mr. Adlai E. Stevenson.